Hi everyone, my name is Avanti Nagaral, and I wanted to talk about something today that has been on my mind as all of us socially distance one another, and that is mental health. We're all social creatures by nature, and social distancing can be really tough, especially if that forces you to stay indoors in a confined space and that's not something you're used to. If it forces you to be with people who may not have your best interests in mind, or if you're just someone who just goes stir crazy sitting and not being able to go out into the world and see other people. So I just think it's very important to talk about. But before I do, I would like to make 3 really important disclaimers. Number 1, I am not a mental health professional, so if you are seeking official help, please seek out official information and resources. Number 2, this applies to general, broad mental health and mental boosting. If you have a pre-existing mental health condition of any nature, please seek out professional help in addition to any other tips you might find on the internet or that I might say here. And number 3, all of these are again from personal experience and basic research, and if they help you, that's amazing, but always seek out professional guidance on something like this. So with all of those out of the way, let's get to it. So the first thing I would say is know your triggers. What spreads as fast as the coronavirus is fear, panic, and hysteria, and it can be really toxic to constantly be plugged in. I understand the need for information, but it is really important to know that your information is coming from reliable sources. 2 of the most medically and scientific reliable sources in this current situation are the WHO and the CDC, the Centers for Disease and Control, and the World Health Organization. Now, I'm not saying completely cut media out of your life, because for some people it's really important to be in the know, but constantly checking can really spiral your mind and make you feel more nervous and anxious. So one way would be potentially to have a set media time that you check on details and facts about the coronavirus, as opposed to every time you pick up your phone or your computer, because that can be very toxic. In addition, I think it's important to still remember that there is goodness in the world. It's really easy when it feels like that's all everybody's talking about, that's the only thing that's consuming us. That is not true. So, trying to find that space and think of other things, thinking of hope, thinking of other beautiful things in your life. In addition, it's really important to know your other types of triggers. It may not just be the media and all this information, but it could be a toxic person. It could be something in your environment. For example, for some people, it sounds silly, but a really hot or really cold environment can be really stressful. So trying to figure out just those things that keep you comfortable and at bay are really important to just know your basic triggers so you can manage them and keep them at bay. Number 2 would be to create an organizational structure for yourself, especially if you have to work or study from home. Not all of us are used to doing that, so it can really just throw your system off and throw you into a funk. A few things that would be really important is to just create structure, so whether that means A, creating a to-do list, which might just help you ease yourself and know what is going on. B, just having a structure to your day, even though you might be in the same space. So trying not to do any work, if possible, in the place in which you sleep, whether that means physically your bed, or if you have the opportunity, physically your bedroom. Or if you have a table, just essentially creating separate spaces for yourself. If you're at home, it can also be really tempting to just laze around in your nightclothes all day, which is totally fine, and you should totally do that if that is your jam. But if you have to work or study, it can just throw off your balance, because we seek structure and we try to understand the world around us in that way. So get up, exercise, sleep well, take a shower, please. And as you shower, get ready as you might for the day so that you feel like you're ready and prepared to do something. And creating a dedicated space for work, creating a dedicated space for different things, even if it's just different corners of your room, will just help put your mind at ease. The other thing is it can just be stressful to, work or study from home. But just know in your heart that it's for the greater good. As tough as it might seem right now, us practicing social distancing is probably going to be one of the biggest things that mitigates the spread of this virus. Number 3, I would say, is to acknowledge your feelings. It can be really, really tough to stay strong and positive, especially if you're someone who's, caring for the vulnerable or children or the sick. It can be difficult. So I think just acknowledging your feelings, having a space to express them in whatever way that might be, right? Whether that's writing it out, dancing, singing, screaming into a pillow, whatever you need to do, acknowledging your feelings is really important during this time, because in acknowledging them, you recognize that they are a thing, but they do not necessarily define you. And creating spaces for, me time in which to just be in your feelings, acknowledge them, accept them, and move on. For some people that can be deep breathing or meditation. For some people that can be just having, time to yourself, which is really yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean, sitting and vegetating in front of a TV, although that can be healing for some, but really just having a chance to be with yourself, with your thoughts, and just acknowledge and recognize what's going on. The 4th thing that I would say, which is really important, please repeat after me: social distance does not equal relationship distance. I'm somebody who I know receives love through physical affection and touch, but I'm being very careful and avoiding hugging my family too, which is why you see my little companion here, Mr. Fluffkins, who's religiously sanitized. But yeah, I know that that's important to me, and I've been in several long-distance friendships and relationships, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all, but that does not mean that they do not exist. In fact, in times like this, they exist even more, and communication is even more important. We're fortunate to live in a time where we have access to technology and things that make it so much easier for us to stay in touch. So whether that means scheduling a regular Skype date with your significant other, or FaceTiming your friends on a regular basis, or just sending emails and letters and notes of appreciation, texting, WhatsApping, Zoom calling, whatever it is, relationships still exist. So make sure you reach out to your loved ones. You can even make new friendships, Just because you cannot be there in person doesn't mean that the actual relationship doesn't exist. The 5th thing that I would say is to have a healthy lifestyle. I know that sounds easier said than done, and especially at a time like this, a lot of people just want to wallow and eat their feelings, which is totally fine and valid. Please do that if you need to, but not every single day. I think the healthier you feel physically for what is in your control, such as your diet and your exercise, the more you boost your mental health. Exercising releases endorphins. There's a lot of science behind it, but regardless, adopting a healthy lifestyle, making sure you're eating your fruits and vegetables in a balanced diet, making sure you're boosting your immunity, whether that's with vitamin C, whether that's with just anything that has worked for you in the past. I swear by haldi or turmeric. Have a pinch of that in hot water every day. I swear by that as an immunity booster. I'm not saying that will prevent the virus or anything, but it will definitely help keep you up with your immunity and keep your immunity boosted. So healthy lifestyle is super important. It can also be tempting to rely on things like alcohol and drugs, and again, that's a personal lifestyle choice. Totally do what you will. However, please be mindful that in times like this, it can be easier to become more and more dependent on substances, and that can be very, very dangerous for the long run. The 6th thing I would say is, if you need help, please seek it out. And you can do so through many different forms. There's a lot of online counseling services available. Just literally Google and read reviews for ones near your home. There's several apps, depending depending on what you're trying to do or what you would like to do. In India, for example, there's an app called Your Dost, which I think has been very helpful to a lot of folks. There's a lot of different apps, such as there's an app called Mindspace, there's an app called Headspace, MoodFit, there's an app called Talkspace. There's several apps. Talkspace is actually a US-based equivalent to Your Dost, where they put you in touch with counselors. If you need to seek help, please, please do. Even if that means just calling up a friend and venting, it's really important, and do not shy away from that in a time like this. Last tip that I would like to share is, if you are currently feeling helpless, please consider helping others. And we cannot help everybody. For those of us who were fortunate enough to have a roof over our heads, to have food, it is tough knowing that there are several people who cannot practice social distancing in the same way because their daily wage makes all the difference in their lives, and for them to feed a family of 10. That being said, just sitting here and wallowing about it or feeling helpless may seem tough, but there's ways in which you can help. Consider, for example, donating to industries that you know are going to really suffer in these next couple months, such as, say, theaters and live entertainment, or small businesses, or daily wage workers with whom you interact. Just researching what's in your local area and ways in which you can donate and help. Potentially, like, let's say you have a skill you're really good at, or just like to do for fun, you know, maybe you want to have doodles and send doodles to your friends. Have that product or service or whatever it is, and in return request them to donate $5 or $10, you know, 1,000 rupees, whatever it is, and all of that can go toward donating to a cause or a charity or something that you think would be able to be helpful in times like this. You can always pass it on. So yeah, so my name is Avanti Nagral. This is Mr. Fluffkins. If you have any other suggestions, please leave them down in the comments below, or if you have any questions, feel free to hit me up here on Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever. And I hope you all stay safe, healthy, physically and mentally, and strong during these times. If you like what you see, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that great jazz, and I will see you soon.